There are people convinced that demand is what we actually get. The word science originated from a Latin word sci, which means I know. Winning races is what made the Blue Nose truly famous. He seemed confused for a few more minutes and then recognized Sam. I was thankful that they provided me with light to see my way. The sea was as much his element as the land. Here are some instructions on how to store dried herbs properly. Laura had to keep it from spilling the milk and teach it how to drink. They're the best I have ever had. They are willing to stand up for what they believe. They assessed comprehension of 31 signs, 15 of which had word messages. You can persuade them to do what you want. There are many places where coffee can be grown. I believe the machine's failure is caused by a manufacturing defect. Schedule their off-site field trips every week. Suddenly Carrie knew that she had better go, or supper would be begun. Clutching the edges of her heavy skirt, she began to run. Blacks were rated the highest for physical activity, Asians the lowest. We are looking for volunteers who are open, resilient, and committed. Only portraits taken by live photo will be included in the 2013 yearbook. Jack was old enough to know what that word meant. Enclosed with this letter is an updated and accurate invoice. Once submitted, essays cannot be changed or revised. I avert my eyes and display something attractive. The plane did not seem to be responding as it should. When in doubt, ask the questioner to repeat or rephrase the question. Once at the site, walk to the location where the interview will be held. You may have heard it without knowing that you did. Remember, whatever you put out in this world comes back to you tenfold. He watched the blacksmith pump the bellows to make his fire hotter. The little girl got louder and more insistent. All portraits must be taken by December 31st to be included in the yearbook. Their fangs are so powerful that they can go through a person's fingernail. Dan blew the horn and began to yell at the cab driver. Across the blackboard were 3 words written in huge block letters. We will get a chance to meet new friends who love to play baseball. It was too difficult to move on her hands and knees. Not surprisingly, adults 55 or older prefer local TV to the internet. One thing that is essential is looping your chain. The sei whale feeds on krill, which are usually found close to the surface. What is considered attractive changes over time and varies across cultures. I have done it now for about 10 years, and I am very good at it. What they needed was to regain some true interest. Locals pay much lower prices for the same purchases. Is it possible that what makes me happy is not what makes you happy? I would advise young artists to always follow their real interests. It can guide you exactly where you want to go, no problem. What good is all that complex technology if you cannot enter a destination? It does whatever you want. Consider the fact that forgetting is always so suspiciously selective. As their alert periods lengthen, so do their sleep periods. They give it greater consideration than where to live in this world. Documents that give detailed descriptions of likely cases are very scarce. Probably what you do is what early humans had to do. Feeling quite foolish, he greedily devoured the very tiny snail. When children refuse to eat, it's best not to overreact. How people and societies make these choices is the focus of economics. Such habits are essential for them to maintain or improve their performance. The colder it was, the more layers they wore. It was one of the photos in our album that we decided to put on the cover. My daughters stopped playing and looked at my father. No matter how old your mommy gets, she will always be my princess. It took a while to figure out how I could bring us closer again. Toddlers are not necessarily polite to one another. Each new skill they learn can be an excuse to celebrate. That was how the management-employee relationship worked. Sure enough, as I walked by I could hear him say, "Really? That's wonderful." It is important that the subject be unaware that he is being observed. Who can resist such a request? That's one of the reasons we continue to do business with your company. The ability to read music is not necessary, just a good ear. The maximum number of books to be checked out is 6. Attendance is very important in issuing a volunteering certificate. The narrowest production gap between apples and pears appeared in 2004. I gave up on the idea of going into Grandpa and Grandma Tiny's room. If you loved me, you'd take me out to dinner. If you look around you, you can find a place where help is needed. Only then did he realize his terrible, stupid mistake. Be sure to make the Altoona Book Club your refuge during the holidays. Advance purchase is recommended due to a high sellout rate. Paying a wage above the equilibrium level was profitable for the firm. They will insist right there and then that they return the favor somehow. If you have eaten dinner before you arrive, you will wish you had not. Both good and bad events in your life can keep you awake at night. Small talk helps people ease into a social relationship. He was to focus the rest of the energy on making the putt. The worst thing that could happen is that they would not tell you. Neither he nor any subsequent hunter was a particularly good shot. I wait for Dad to come pounding out into the hall, shouting at me. Companies that did not pursue this opportunity are no longer in business. This demands experience in handling camels as well as acrobatic talent. The more common the word, the more meanings it probably has. Children begin to learn the characteristics of different planets and moons. Don't miss the opportunity to get a membership for Wild Nature at $100. Videos are a way to view ourselves as others do. The result, he did what I asked him to do. Could you please deal with this problem as promptly as possible? We look forward to receiving a correct order. He allowed George Foreman to hit him repeatedly. The grand prize poster will be printed and sent to all schools.